Hey, what's going on? Is there any way to tell how many people are here? I think they changed something. I'm not seeing. Okay, there's the counter. Let me know how many people are here. I should have one of those countdown things like, hey, Jinx, what's going on? Yo, Isaac K, how you doing? I always say this, but this is going to be a short one. Um, I saw something today. It really annoyed the hell out of me. I mean, it annoyed me before too, but it was extra. It was extra annoying. Hold on. I'm gonna wait for some more people to pile up in here. Then we will start in earnest. But what's everybody up to, man? What's the latest in y'all's world? Who's excited about this election? Who's early voted? Any of y'all early vote yet? Anybody voted for Trump? Anybody get it in for Jim Crow Joe? Like I wanted to early vote, but everyone kept telling me they had like 2 hour waits and all that, and I'm like, eh. I mean, I'll do it eventually. I don't know. Is everyone convinced Joe Biden's gonna win? Because I'm not. I really like all those polls. Most of them are popular vote, and I never had any doubt that Joe Biden's gonna win the popular vote. Like that's a given. Same way Hillary won it, and I feel like liberals keep forgetting that this is not a popular vote contest. I mean, that's the same mistake that they made with Hillary. And if you look at the actual battleground states, the leads aren't as decisive for most of them as they were for the popular vote. But on top of that, I read an article that pointed out that a lot of the Joe Biden supposed leads in the battleground states are actually smaller than the projected leads um, for those same areas in the 2016 election. So I don't really know. I mean, I think Trump's going to try to steal the election. I'm just not convinced he has to steal it. I think he might end up winning it regardless, because again, it's not a popular vote contest, you know. But yeah, I mean, everyone's trying to tell me that the polling is more significant or better this time, but I'm still not. Um, I don't know. I think there's a kind of depth of expertise that I think we have to get used to. Yeah, Yakub is making a convincing list of things Trump's gonna do, but I mean, Republicans always do that. The stuff they do with the polls, like I think, unfortunately. Oh wait, what did Greg Palast say was gonna happen, and where did he make it known? Did he say this with in writing or on a podcast? Because I always like Greg Palast. I want to know where he said what he said so I can go track it down. Oh yeah, the Hunter Biden stuff. I mean, I gotta say, man, um, Joe Biden did way better than I thought. Man, I thought he was gonna be way, way worse, and he wasn't. I mean, as far as the debates and all that, he's he's held his own better than I thought he would. I mean, the last debate he kind of fell apart near the end around the crime bill stuff, but comparatively speaking to what I thought, like I thought he was gonna just be sundowning in real time, right on screen. So the fact that he didn't do that, that alone is pretty impressive. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about today, I mean, I don't really get it, but 50 Cent and the Chelsea Handler thing. I don't get how 50 Cent had so much smoke for anything a black person does. You know, even black people who ain't messing with him. Like that girl Naturi Naughton, the one that was in 3LW and is on the show Power, she showed up with her edges looking a little kind of messy, I guess. You know, it's subjective. It's up to you if you think that. But he tweeted this thing clowning her, and then she took offense to it, like that he signal boosted something clowning her hair. Then he snapped on her some more. Like she was like, you know, I show up and do hard work for you and do all this stuff, and this is how you treat me. And he just clowned her harder. I mean, Vivica Fox said something that I thought was kind of tame compared to the stuff that Chelsea Handler said about him, and he um clowned her like a whole bunch. He's clowned Vivica Fox like several times without her even doing anything. And then when she did something very mild, which I think she called sex with him PG-13 or something, yeah, he went off on clowning her. And then the stuff that this woman says about him, I think is really, really greasy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's greasy against all black people. So then it offends me even more because it's the stuff she says about him is not really just about him, but revolves around the fact that, like, she's one of those people. She tells a lot of stories where I feel like she likes to talk about sleeping with black guys, but in a way, it's almost meant to be a self-deprecating on her, like it's part of her joke on herself, but also that, you know, like she's kind of slumming. Like in a way, it's kind of meant to convey her superiority in the situation. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just find her really, even when she's trying to be woke, there's always something kind of greasy in how she does it. Like I really don't like how she does race, and it's even gotten worse than she's kind of deemed herself shit lib. It's been her being a lib. It just ends up combining more of her racist impulses, but channeled in a even safer space because liberals, they really feel like emboldened to say and do whatever because they think, hey, we're one of the good guys, we're almost honorary black, like all liberals think they're invited to the cookout. Yeah, someone said Sarah Silverman's the same way. I totally agree. Let's see. People are talking about pegging in the no, they actually dated. It wasn't just acting. He actually dated. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I'm supposed to have Corey Robin back on the show after the election. Also supposed to have Margaret Kimberly too. Yeah, but no, we're definitely gonna have him back on. It'll be one way or the other. It's gonna be yeah, Chelsea Handler. She ages really fast. Like year to year on that show that she had, she was just the Chelsea Handler live show. Like year to year, she was like going. But hold on. This is one thing. That she said about him. I'm gonna play it right now. Someone sent this to me. I haven't listened to it myself yet, but when I was talking about messed up stuff that she's done, someone mentioned this, and I'm like, "Are you sure?" And they sent it. So let's see. So Chelsea Handler exposes that 50 Cent can't spell.
This your boy DJ Academic saying, ain't this a bitch? Now, after 50 Cent came out slandering Floyd Mayweather, saying that, listen, man, he could probably dodge everything, including the book, because this nigga can't read for shit.
Okay, so this is someone else's page, so I'm gonna be playing someone else's voice and video, but hopefully it'll switch to hers. But here it goes.
You would think that 50 Cent has a pretty good grasp of the English language. And now, while all these Negroes, I must admit, they might not be that smart, I probably would win a spelling bee against all of them. They're way richer than me, but this is what we're arguing. We're arguing about fucking who could read,
Oh,
who
it's
could spell, and
academics.
clearly 50 Cent is not one to talk. Now, even when he said his whole little diatribe about Floyd Mayweather challenged him to the ASL and the ELS challenge, even though it was ALS and
Just get to the
ESL he meant,
clip.
well,
What is this?
whatever. Gave it a pass because the shit was funny. But now, somebody sent me some footage, and it's footage of Chelsea Handler, who used to date 50 Cent. Yes, she was
Okay,
getting
come on.
donkey fucked by 50. You know what I mean? 50 was giving her that work.
Oh, stop.
But
Come on.
she came out and she went on the Howard Stern show and she said, listen, 50 Cent, this nigga is no genius by any stretch of the imagination. Now, this is not the conversation, but it just goes to show that most of you Negroes who idolize these guys, who are willing to clown people over you can't spell,
Okay,
because
come
all
on.
these
Come on. Let's
Negroes,
get
they
to the
do need
video.
that education. Listen to Chelsea Handler saying, listen, man, 50 Cent, he's definitely not the brightest bulb out here. Listen to this.
So my assistant was like, okay, 50 Cent is calling, and I swear I think it is him. And I'm like, oh my God.
Liked you.
So I got on the phone, and he's like, and he's very much, it's like he talks, he's not a grammatical genius. So
Yeah,
it's
right.
it's kind of like silly because I'm like, this is so stupid. He's
Yeah,
like,
can you
hey.
go out with a guy who doesn't know grammar?
No, I can't. I
Right.
mean, you
I
should
mean-
have seen some of the texts he used to send me. I was like, oh my God.
Were you correcting the spelling?
No,
and
I
wanting...
didn't even bother. I'm like, as if he's all of a sudden going to get an education now.
Right.
at
But it
the
is
age.
such a
doing
turn.
okay without one.
But it is such a turn off to
I know.
women.
Yep, it just goes to show that not because
A problem I'm having with this academics thing, first off, like, I want to talk about that, but now I'm sidetracked by the academics thing. A lot of black dudes who kind of have that kind of, I don't want to say, maybe incel energy, I don't know. Like, they love when the so-called Pookies and Ray Rays and all that stuff get dissed and whatever, and they think it's some kind of vindication, but these people don't think much better about you. Like, stop it. Like, I don't know why you're so gleeful about this. That annoys me. Like, they think you have less. They think you have less appeal than a 50 Cent or a Pookie or a Ray Ray, however you want to call it, because they just think of you as having the worst parts of being white and the worst parts of being black. Like, you don't even at least have the swag or because that's what they kind of look at black people as, like something fun to slum with or a walk on the wild side. It's almost like a type of bestiality thing sometimes. So you're just like a second-rate white guy to them at the end of the day. That's what the smart, educated, or nerd types usually are to them. So like in a weird way, they don't respect you because they view you as being too much like them, and you're always going to be, in their minds, a cut rate version of them. But you don't even have the fun, slumming, exciting, walk on the wild side aspect of a 50 Cent. So I hate that whole type of attitude. I don't know why you're so happy about that. Like, it's still anyone who thinks like that about a 50 Cent has their own weird type of things going on with you. Yeah, but yeah. So what she said there was really greasy. You know, she was like, "He's not gonna study get education. He's no grammatical genius." Like, and he called her and everything, and she's basically clowning and putting him down while he's still a bigger star than her. He's still. I mean, what he's done with where he's come from and what he's had is, I think, way more impressive than where she's come from. You know? Yeah. Oof. Let's see. Anyway, going on. Let's see. Yeah, so that's what academics said. And so this is nothing new. She's done this before. I just want to say, like, I want to make it clear that we're not just talking about something new that she's done. But in that same interview, she did worse. Like, I have another clip from that interview where she was doing worse to him. So she's been greasy toward him for like a while. Give me a second. Someone said I look tired. Yeah, I'm pretty tired. I'm gonna go to sleep after this. I just kind of want to talk about it before I go to sleep, because this is one of those things. If I don't talk about it now, I'm not really gonna want to talk about it tomorrow. I mean, that's the beauty of this stuff, like this live stream stuff, like things that you're not too crazy about talking about, you know, on the podcast, because it's like a very of the moment thing. You can just hop on live stream and talk about it and be done. I should have had this ready, but hold on. But yeah, but she's been annoying for a while. I'm gonna find the yeah, but ever since they started deciding she was woke, I really got sick of her. Woke Chelsea Handler is extra bad. Okay, so here's another thing that she said, and I'm gonna put this one up. And this is from the same interview. I didn't see the Rashida Jones thing. Everyone's talking to me about that. I missed it. I'll watch it. Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. In the meantime, we'll look at this. So this is another thing she did from the same interview, right? Check it out.
Wants to get back together with you, but she's upset that you're dating me. Is that what you're saying? And he's like, yeah, yeah. So I just want you.
Hold on, let me rewind that to the beginning. She's talking about why they broke up. Hold on. Now the thing's frozen. Just give it a second. Yeah, so what's up, everybody? Yeah, somebody in the comments, talk about what Rashida Jones did while we're waiting for this video to stop buffering. Let me refresh it and see if that does anything. So Chelsea Handler talks about her breakup with 50 Cent.
You're telling me this girl wants to get back together with you, but she's upset that you're dating me. Is that what you're saying? And he's like, yeah, yeah. You're telling me this girl wants to get back together with you, but she's upset that you're dating me. Is that what you're saying? And he's like, yeah, yeah. So I just want you to know when she comes that she's after. And I was like, okay, I think I called him whatever I called him was probably the worst thing you could say to a black person, short of calling him like the N-word. Like I said something like about being not a black person, any person. I said like you're like a street person basically, or like like something along the lines of being like a gangster.
Right.
And it was really, really offensive. And I hung up on him, and I've never spoken to him again. You're kidding.
So she says she called him the worst thing you can call a black person, short of the N-word, and she's so like happy about it, you know. Yeah. So I assume like, wow, he must hate her. Like they must, you know, the way this guy holds a grudge over everything. Like, you know, he's definitely got a hate her. You know, even if I didn't hear what he said to her, I'm sure they have some kind of falling out. And then he was tweeting about supporting Trump or whatever. And anybody who knows 50, when I say no, I mean know of him as a public persona, knows he's a troll. But she used that to get into the news. And that's something else that bothers me about her. I feel like she's always using him to get into the news, you know? Like, but she uses him, but acts like he's the one that's lucky to be with her or be associated with her. He's not running around trying to get clout off her name. I mean, he made the weird choice to call her up and try to date her. So, I mean, he did do that. And unfortunately, that opens him up to this and emboldens her, you know, to know that her kind of scraggly self had this guy who's clearly like above her in looks and status, you know, showing up, shooting his shot. That emboldens her like even more. But yeah, let's go on. I'm gonna put this on now. So this is what she says.
You heard about my ex-boyfriend, right? 50 Cent and his support of Donald Trump.
Yeah, what?
Now, first off, see, she brought it up. It's not even like he even asked about her. Yeah, like, you know, so keep that in mind.
What's going on between you? I saw your tweets and I go, wait, what's happening? Because you said he was your favorite ex-boyfriend, and then what does he do? He's supporting Trump?
He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cent to 20 cent. And I had to remind him that he was a black person.
Yeah, so that's really tacky. Yeah, so the whole thing that humanity is the black person. So she's saying the same thing Joe Biden said. If you don't vote for me, that you're not black. Like that whole idea that that's really you know, like this type of entitlement that people have to the support of black people, or you know, like I hate when people say the whole Democratic plantation stuff or, you know, whatever, but in these people's minds, them black people really are on a Democratic plantation to a degree. Like you had a right back in the old days when they let slaves vote. The slave owner could decide how the slaves voted when in places where slaves could vote. Like they couldn't vote with the full share of a full person, but different people could have more of a say depending on how big the plantation was. So, yeah. Oh, someone said he doesn't claim Chelsea, but you'll see. Hold on, because we're going to talk about that. So she keeps going.
So he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocket.
And the whole influence a whole swath of people, that's a kind of shot at black people, because there's this idea that our celebrities have an extra hold that, you know, that's why so many of these white liberals are so mad and scared about Kanye and Ice Cube. They just think like there's just a ton of black people who can't think for themselves. They just hear a rapper talk about vote for Trump alongside with the newest Hypnotic or Hennessy to drink, and then that black person will go out and do both, get that new Hennessy and vote for Trump in the same shot. Like that's something very insulting about that. I don't know.
So Oh, I haven't heard back from him yet, but I am willing to, seal the deal in more ways than one if he changes his mind. And
Now, this whole thing that sex is going to get him um back on track, like she's Fay Ray and he's King Kong, and that blonde white woman's going to make the sacrifice in scare quotes of her vagina to get 50 in line, as if she wouldn't die to get him in bed and get, as if like that 50 is getting the better end of that deal. That's the most entitled, self-centered thing about this whole thing. Like, he does not routinely get and do better. Like, this idea like that she's still communicating that she's of higher value. That's what really gets me really annoyed with her. Like, I mean, come on. Have you seen like 50 Cent's latest baby mother? And then compare her. It's not even. I don't know where she gets this. Well, I know where she gets this elevated sense of her own self-worth. Exactly. She's standing out on the content of sleeping with him several years ago. So of course she would. And she, another problem is she wants to be back in his life. I think she wants to sleep with him again, but she's got to pretend that she doesn't, because she still has to pretend that she's better than the illiterate gangster. That she has some kind of elevated status. But I mean, she probably looks back on that fondly, and she needs her cover to slum, so now she can say she did it to get him to vote on track. No, you're getting older, you're horny, you just want to do it. Yep, it's exactly like Dunham and Odell Beckham. 100%. There's another case with the girl who was on this Disney show or Nickelodeon show. Jeanette McCurdy. I'm gonna give that example too, because I just thought of it, and it's the same thing. But she was dating this basketball player. This would be a good one to talk about. Andre Drummond. But her name is Jeanette McCurdy. I have no idea who she is, but I just saw after. This is something that a lot of them do. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can find the exact interview if it's only in print. Okay, here it goes. She was dating Andre Drummond, and he was a basketball player. I think he was a Piston. I think this is. I've read this. I've never actually seen the interview, so let's see.
Jeanette McCurdy's interview. Listen to her slam Andre Drummond. That's right, Jeanette McCurdy was not afraid to spill some serious beans when she revealed the real reason why she and her NBA star ex-boyfriend, Andre Drummond, did not work as a couple. Here's a 2-word clue for you: bad kisser. Jeanette McCurdy.
Okay, that's whack. Hold on. Okay, well, basically, I can't find it, but here, I'll find it. I'll find it in written form. But basically, this girl, she dated Andre Drummond. This is how they look. I mean, he's definitely getting the better end of the deal here. There is absolutely nothing particularly incredible about her. I mean, first off, it's kind of weird. I don't know. She kind of looks like she's 12, so I don't even understand why exactly he even did this. It's like a weird clout chasing thing that these guys do sometimes. Like, they don't even look right at all. And she was on one of those Nickelodeon, Disney Channel type shows. I think it was called iCarly or something. And he shot a shot at her again. You know, that same thing. So then she ends up later, they break up, and so this is from iCarly star puts NBA player on blast, laughs at relationship, says kissing sucked. And I guess this is the clip. So let's see. So,
It was only a week.
And then I'm thinking, like, if it's only a week.
yeah, stupid.
It was only a week.
And then I'm thinking, like, if it's only a week, was he, like, playing basketball? Was he, like, touring around?
Yeah, well, what had happened was he was on his off season. He hit, do you know Woman Crush Wednesday, WCW?
No. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So he listed me as his Woman Crush Wednesday for a couple weeks, and I hadn't, like...
In a row?
Yeah, a couple weeks in a row.
Oh.
And then, yeah, he was really committed.
How old is this man?
He's 20. He's a year younger than me.
So listen to this. He was tagging her as his Woman Crush Wednesday for like several weeks in a row, right? Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Younger than
Yes.
he's in the NBA?
Yes, that's
he's
crazy.
Sailing
He's the
through the
youngest person
sky?
in the NBA.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, first off, he's younger than her and in the NBA. She's doing this iCarly thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should be thanking your lucky stars. Like, I don't understand, like, why they're laughing. I mean, even the guy, I think, kind of knows, because even while she's trying to clown him to this white guy, he can't even hold back his awe. He's, like, she's kind of laughs a little funny. Like, her laugh is kind of like, yeah, okay, that's nice, but you're supposed to be laughing at him with me. You're not supposed to be, I mean, this guy sounds like he's ready to go date him himself. Like he forgot where he was or what he was supposed to be doing for a second. Listen to that again.
20. He's a year younger than me.
He's younger than
Yes.
he's in the NBA?
Yes, that's
he's
crazy.
Sailing
He's the
through the
youngest person
sky?
in the NBA.
Really?
Yeah. He was in his...
Yeah, so he's, even during this thing where she's supposed to be making fun of him, he can't hold back his awe. He's more in awe of him than he does to have her in front of him, right?
off season.
Oh, this is Pete Holmes. I didn't even know this was him.
He listed me as his Woman Crush Wednesday. I saw...
Was that Totes Flats?
It was very flat.
Yeah.
And his fans told me, they were like, you gotta follow him or whatever. So then I looked at his page and I was just like, oh, like this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
20-year-old NBA star.
Yeah, and-
Center, that's an important position.
Yeah. So she's trying to downplay it, and he keeps fucking it up by pointing out how much of an upgrade it is for her. You notice that? She just kind of responds like, yeah, okay. You know, because she doesn't want to be reminded of that. You know, like he's supposed to play around, and I guess he didn't get the memo or he didn't read the. Yeah, but that's, and also, if you notice, there's a low-key disrespect there. I don't think she picks up on it. Because he keeps saying, really? He went after you? And what he's trying to, he's kind of saying in his head, he's like, I can get you even without being famous. like he's, well, she's trying to down him and, you know, brag. She doesn't realize this guy, even the guy that she thinks is on her side, in addition to being in awe of him and saying, oh, he's a center? He can say all this stuff. He's also saying, he went after you first? Really? Are you sure? You know? So yeah, that is really funny.
Yeah, sure.
Some
Seemed
of
like it to
those
me.
guard, I can't think of another one. Not as necessary.
Yeah, he seemed like...
Big deal.
Yeah. So I just thought, okay, cool. I followed him and I like sent him a little message and it was like a public message. And then since I followed him and he was following me, he sent me a direct message with his phone number.
Which is like a bold move. The first one was the phone number?
Yeah. He went right for it.
Wait, did it say anything or was it just the number?
It was, hey, we should get to know each other. Then his phone number.
And
Wow.
and mind you, this guy was a
Yeah,
first
beautiful.
round pick. Because you gotta remember, this is when he
for his
first
position, he's
came
supposed
out.
to- He's supposed to be centered, and here he is being very forward.
Yeah, this is when he first came out. Like, I don't think his career has been like super crazy since then, but at the time he was slated to be a really big deal. Yeah, I mean, I think he's been a two-time NBA All-Star actually. His career hasn't been terrible. He's led the league in rebounding, I think a few times. Yes, but this is kind of the same thing that's happening with Jenny McCarthy here. It's like I think there's a lot of white women who feel kind of like in the fringe of white society, or it's like I'm close, but I'm not really. I'm not gonna be Scarlett Johansson. I'm not gonna be Anne Hathaway. I'm always gonna be kind of like a semi joke. I'm close enough. I'm almost conventionally attractive, but for whatever reason, I've got a reputation, or maybe I'm just more the funny girl. I'm not ever the hot leading girl, because notice a lot of these girls are kind of like comedian types. There's Chelsea Handler. Sarah Silverman, I don't think has ever specifically done this, but she's a type who would do this. She had the same personality type to me. And this girl, she was a comic relief on this kids show, but I mean, no one's seen her and thinking, oh yeah, that's gonna be the next Natalie Portman. Like she's gonna be in that Amy Schumer lane, and Amy Schumer is the kind of person who does this kind of slick humor too. Like they feel like they should have full Becky powers, but they kind of realize that they're a special kind of white girl, and they're not. But they're also kind of close enough that they feel a little bit entitled. Like they're kind of close enough that maybe in their teens they were able to be confused about which lane of white girl they were, or they were young and skinny and they were in this small town. They thought there was something, but in Hollywood, they've got this kind of lane. So what a lot of these types do is that they make themselves feel better by getting a black guy. And what happens a lot with these type of black guys, the black guy is kind of objectively better than her, like in looks, physique. Like if you notice, the white guy, whether it's Jimmy Fallon or Pete Holmes, they're more fascinated and probably homoerotically attracted to the black guy than to them. Like, look how much excitement in both cases they are to talk about the black guy rather than the white girl in front of them, So, I mean, like, Jimmy Fallon's face kind of lit up when she brought up. And the funny thing is, they know it too. They know that these white guys have more probable sexual attraction to these black guys with swag than them. That's why in both cases, they're itching to bring it up, Yeah, so, I mean, and this is funny how she's just trying to create this illusion, but to some degree, they're not totally wrong, because in both these cases, these guys should not have been coming thirsty for either of them, I mean, when I compare her to Amy Schumer, I mean, she's a Kids Bop Amy Schumer. At the time, I think this show was big among like the tweens and stuff. I think it's been off the air since, but so it's like, you got some nerve. I mean, this is like a highlight for you. And I think to some degree, that's why they do this too. Because I think deep down, for all the superiority complex and riding on this whiteness, on some degree, they know that they're inferior to the guy, and that they kind of have to sabotage it first and then brag about it, because I think on some level she knows people probably look at them and think, damn, he could do better. And same thing with same thing with Chelsea Handler. I mean, I'm sure she probably saw a lot of tabloid things. People were like, really? He's with her? Yeah, there's a lot of them that do this. They all got, and this is what I'm talking about. Lisa Lampanelli used to do it too. Is the kind of thing where it's a way for that type of white woman to psychologically deal with, I am protected because I'm a white woman, but I'm not the white woman. I'm not like those types. What they will love to do is clown black men and clown black women. Like Amy Schumer used to have all those skits making fun of black girls because of their asses and this kind of blackface she was doing, and it's like a cheap way for this type of white woman to feel good, like to find thirsty black guys that are like great physical specimens and whatever. And it's the kind of way I think what they kind of tell themselves is, I may be a second-rate white person, but it bothers them more because they feel they're close enough. If something happened, if one gene turned out different, if they could get the weight under control, if they didn't age in dog years in particular, they could get in that lane. That like frustrates them more. I think getting a black guy that on paper is above their weight class, and on top of that is sweating them, is that kind of way. But it's also a way to kind of make themselves interesting to the white people that they wish they could be more on top of, Are you guys following me? Am I making sense? I think I'm making sense because I got a feeling a lot of people have recognized this dynamic, right? And I'm sure a lot of you guys are thinking of your own examples of what I'm talking about. Like there's a certain type of entitlement that only a white woman or a white man can have, but especially a white woman. White women have a really high level of entitlement, and white women who turn out to be almost hot or kind of hot, I'm talking about conventionally attractive or kind of on the cusp, they kind of feel like they've been cast out of heaven, but they never even got to arrive. They thought they had a golden ticket, and they found out, oh no, this ticket says purgatory. It's kind of like white guys who think that they're on the way to the corner office, and then they find out they're never gonna even make middle management, and then become like mass shooters. It's like black people don't have that kind of entitlement, as in we never kind of expect to be in the top of any totem pole. So it's like something that James Baldwin said about white gays. And he said, hold on. Yeah, someone said, I think a better analogy is they had a first class seat, but they were actually in coach. Yeah. Whether it's heaven versus purgatory or first class versus coach, but not even coach. Because I feel like coach, the people who are in coach and know they're in coach, I think they get comfortable with, they understand, hey, that's my lot. Like whatever, like the front row in coach, the one that's close enough that you can see the back row first class. Yeah, and they started convincing themselves they thought they were, yeah. So like Lena Dunham is one of them. When Lena Dunham was talking about Odell Beckham not sweating her, that was kind of that same thing, and they get really mad because they think he would still choose a lot of black girls over me. So a lot of white people, when they get with people of a certain race, for a lot of them, their ego gets off on the idea that she would choose me over even the best of her race, or his race. They kind of feel like, and her story, Chelsea Handlers was kind of like that. The story, if you paid attention to the story, it was about Ciara and this idea that she had to compete with 50 Cent for Ciara. And I think that's what made her really mad and tell him off. She was acting like it was because of maturity or something, but I think that she had to compete for a black man, and on top of that, with a black woman, that was too much of a reminder, that her whiteness wasn't carrying as much weight as she thought. Tabitha Soren talking about her interview with Tupac, another perfect example. Like, she's so hot that Tupac lost his mind. Like, give me a break. Like, even if what she said was true and he did hit on her, it was probably more like, she's so thirsty it'll be a layup. Let me just try. Like, first, I don't think he did hit on her, but even if he did, like, oh God, like, if you ever saw that interview, and I've seen an interview when it first ran, she was thirsty as hell in that interview. She was super thirsty as hell, and then she was trying to reframe it as in he was the thirsty one. Hold on, this is more of this interview.
For his position, he's supposed to be centered, and here he is being very forward. Okay, we can have sports jokes.
I like it. My kiss story with Andre. My first kiss with him was after we had gone laser tagging. Me and some of my friends went back to my house, and he was having a car service pick him up, as he would, and they all kind of
Uber
were
or car service?
car service, like his driver, but that was there for the week. His name was Alfred. Yeah, it's true.
No.
It was.
Now, do you see how the guy is still super impressed and more interested in him? Like, he's ready to date this guy himself.
A lot.
This guy is the coolest.
So all of my friends like
You see that? Like, she's supposed to be clowning him, and he still can't stop talking about how cool. And this is how annoyed she keeps getting. To have to keep getting back to her clowning story through his blatant jocking of the guy. Like, notice how she keeps trying to get back on story every time he's like drooling, and she's trying to downplay it. It's not working.
This guy is the coolest.
So all of my friends like left,
Just
and
blew right
then
past
he was like, my car's outside, and I was like, oh, okay, and like trying to look like ready to be kissed. So then he came over and he was like, hey, it's like been really a fun time or whatever, and can't wait to see you tomorrow, because we'd already made plans to see each other the next day. Mm-hmm. So I stood on a chair, but it's called the Cuddler, and I got it from Z Gallery, and it's in my living room, and it like
The cuddler.
the Cuddler. It's a very comfy, sort of like squishy round.
I'm
couch
picturing a
thing.
husband. You know those husband chairs?
No,
They're chairs that look like this.
This
Okay.
is a painful
They have
interview.
arms and you lean on them and read.
it does not have arms. It's sort of
This
just
one's-
got like a weird back, and it's like a circular thing, and it
Okay.
it goes around itself.
Okay.
But it's also very wobbly, so I like stepped on it, but stepped far enough back that I wouldn't fall over. But that was just so I could be up to his height.
Nice.
And then I don't know, I just sort of went for it, but it wasn't great.
You initiated.
Yeah,
Nice.
but it just didn't go great. Like it wasn't
Sparks.
no
Fireworks.
sparks, and just like like the mouths just didn't, the shapes weren't like
It's
right.
interesting. And while you're smooching, how in your own head are you? Are you thinking?
Oh, completely. Oh God, it's just forget about it.
You're doing a voiceover.
Yeah, and I was thinking like, okay, God, well, I got to see this guy for like the next couple days. We've already made a lot of plans. I feel like if I get out of it now, it's gonna be weird. He's already posted on Twitter, so now everybody knows. There's all these people. If I just like
That's
ride
why
this
it's on
out for
your
a little bit.
Wikipedia.
So she's basically acting like she was doing him like a pity date for like the 7 days. I think she probably saw he wasn't serious or whatever, and this is her way of saving face. I don't know, because
And stuff, yeah.
You know,
because
yeah.
I think the same thing with Chelsea Handler, this kind of reminder that no, you being a white girl doesn't automatically make you the A-list of this guy's world, and not only is he not taking you seriously, not only is the guy that you're slumming with. I'll give you an example. And a lot of guys probably empathize with this. A lot of times, something that some guys will do is when they go out and it's getting late and the top shelf talent they weren't able to hook up with, they'll see some girl, and I'm not saying this is right, wrong, whatever, but it's just something that happens. They'll see some girl where they'll be like, oh, that's a layup. I'm going to go home with something. So in their mind, they're coming up like to slum. For whatever reason, they think this girl's subpar. And they think like they're ashamed to be even going up to her to some degree, but at the same time, they're like, this would be a good story. I'll get my rocks off, whatever. And then like that girl will be like, oh, I'm not interested. Thanks. Whatever. And then it'll mess up their whole world. They didn't even really like her. It was just something they were settling for, and why not? And they were like acting like it was so beneath them, and suddenly, now they're like, oh wait, this person, you know, turned me down. Like, wait, they start wondering, like, why did they turn me down? What does that mean about me? You know, and that's when then the guy might say, oh yeah, you were ugly anyway, whatever. But at that point, it's too late. You already got this. You know, I think there's a certain amount of that happening where, okay, I'm slumming, but the good part about the slumming is that the power balance is going to be totally in my favor. And not just that, I'll be able to get like the top shelf of, even if it is like a lower status thing, I'll get the top shelf of it, and I'll get a certain, so I'll get the fringe benefits of that. And then to kind of realize that they're not really the person's world, they're just an option, I think is that same type of wake up call as when, you think you're slumming and you get this by the person that you think you're slumming with. Oh, this is an interesting reference. It's a slump buster. Yeah, it's called a slump buster. Yeah. Isaac K said, I'm guilty of that. A slam dunk is only 2 points, but it's easier than a 3. Yeah, so, anyway. I'm not gonna play any more of the interview. You get the point. But the Tabitha Soren Tupac thing was another ridiculous one. If you ever saw that original interview, she was thirsty as hell. And then she came in a later interview. And you know what? Maybe over the years, a lot of people have clowned her for being thirsty as hell. And maybe her white husband even, had issues with it. He was probably like, hey girl, I've seen that old interview of you and Tupac. Did you guys bump uglies? They could tell me, so he probably told her that story. She probably told him that story. And, she probably kept telling that story. And she probably wanted to get that on the record so that whenever anybody sees that, that thing, they'll, that'll be their takeaway from it. Yeah. So, so when she was talking, even when she was young, I don't remember anybody thirsting for Tabitha Soren. I'm old enough to remember the time when she was on air. I remember we used to think like, why is this girl even on here? Like, if it was Ananda or something, Ananda Lewis, I could see that. I could even see Kennedy, from those old days. But, I'll even say I think it might have been possible that he was flirting with her a little bit, but I think it was that harmless flirting that some guys do when it's just like on autopilot and it's just like fun. The same way sometimes a girl will flirt with a guy who doesn't have a chance. Any women in here who are in the chat room right now will know exactly what I'm talking about, where sometimes just for fun, or maybe to even make them feel good, you just flirt with the person a little bit, just as more like a lark than anything. But I'm trying to find the Tabitha Soren actual interview where she talks about Tupac, and I'm not able to find it, but instead I'm finding people talking about it. Where is he? Yeah, but she was basically, let me see if I can find it. I really want to find this thing. Hold on. If anybody has a link to it, email me at champagnesharks@gmail.com. Yeah, email me at champagnesharks@gmail.com because I want to find this thing. Yeah, but Lisa Lampanelli is another perfect example, and there's something very racist in her whole thing about the black man. But the part of the thing was that it was supposed to be almost self-deprecating humor. Like, I got it so bad I have to slum to black men, Yeah. So it's something else. But yeah, so she did that same thing. And it's like, give me a break. That would have been the happiest day. But you know what that same energy is? This is like a micro version. Like, I'm not trying to flatten or equate the two. I'm not going to equate the two at all. But this is like a micro version of when a lot of these white women get regret for being with a black guy and cry rape. This is like a micro version of that, where it's like, you know, you had your fun from the slum, and now you have to do a little bit of damage control to make sure you still have a place in white society. You know, what little place you have, and part of that damage control is acting like you barely liked it. That the guy came on to you. The guy was practically forcing himself on you. It may have looked like you were thirsty or you were enjoying it, but you really weren't. You know, but also, I think to some degree they get some rejection sometimes, or they might find out like they were getting played or used, and the guy who was supposed to be the one being looked down on actually looked down on them. So some of it is like, I think revenge like that, you know, like, because that was something else that used to happen in slave times. It was rumored to happen. It wasn't just consensual relationships that were getting rape accusations, but some white women would retaliate against being rejected by a slave by doing a false rape accusation. That used to happen in some of the slave narratives, that someone actually rejected, and then they were threatened or blackmailed with, I'm going to say you raped me if you don't accept my advances. And then they would get, you know, it's kind of the same thing. But yes, I saw this one. Some woman did a bit like that about her mother marrying an Indian guy. Yeah, same. That was on Twitter. Yeah, she should do that. She should do that a lot. Yeah, I'm so disgusting to have the slum of minorities. Isn't that funny? And yeah, I did search the Tabitha Soren full interview on. Yeah, was Tupac's dick bigger than mine? Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, honey, I never even saw his dick. He was just flirting with me nonstop. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, so sometimes people just flirt for no reason. I feel like I don't even think, I don't even think he was flirting. But honestly, when you look at it, to me, she looked way more thirsty than he did. And yeah, man, she made it kind of seem like all his boys around were like salivating like a bunch of dogs around a steak, like they were just licking their chops. Like, it wasn't just him. I remember now. She was kind of throwing his boys under the bus too, and just made it seem like she was just so hot. These oversexed black guy who hadn't been lucky enough to be around a white girl of her caliber before. They've been stuck with, you know, those low-end video vixen girls who in reality would blow her out the water. This is the first time they've been around Church's Fried Chicken their whole life. This is the first time they had a Cornish hen. It was, they just didn't know what to do with themselves. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, but that was some bullshit. That was some bullshit. I gotta find the actual thing for the Tabitha Soren, but that's a good example. Here's a clip from let's find a clip from the thing. And this was not a good interview too. I remember this interview. The interview sucked. Like, she had no reason to even be there. Wait, Tabitha Soren's husband is Michael Lewis? Oh, I love Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis is great. I didn't know that was her husband. But listen, check out look at this interview. Hopefully MTV won't zap us over this.
Tell me, what does Tupac,
So-
Amaru, Shakur mean?
Okay.
Like she's
It
so clueless.
means- I was named after this Inca chief from South America whose name was Tupac Amaru, but it's a lot of people named
Okay.
Tupac Amaru. It's like a whole tribe.
I'm just talking
named
so that
Tupac
they don't
Amaru.
zap
So
this.
my mom named me after this Inca chief.
I have to
and
keep-
I think the tribal breakdown means
I have to keep
like
talking.
intelligent warrior, something like that. But
I see.
he's a deep.
I see.
He is. He is. If I go to South America, they're gonna love
Look,
me.
look at her energy.
It's like you don't even want to see me. They call this place Weird Beach. I don't know.
Okay.
It ain't that weird to me. But you'll see why they call it.
Yeah. I mean, look,
When
he's
you
barely
first
interested.
moved to Oakland, that was your first stop in California?
Right.
Look at her hand on her hip.
Marin City.
Look how she's like keeps
Marin City?
bumping into
Okay.
him.
You know.
Well, you left Baltimore and came to Marin City.
Yes.
And when you were in Baltimore, you were in a school of the performing arts. How
Yes.
come you didn't enroll in one when you came to California?
I couldn't find one when I came to California. And I was broke, so I had to go to a regular high school.
But you
Now
eventually
look how
dropped
uninterested
out,
he
right?
is.
Yeah, sure did. I didn't have enough credits. Like everybody was about to graduate. I had came, went into the 12th grade, was about to graduate, everything. Right before I was about to graduate, they was like, you got to come back next year.
She can't
get
take her
health
eyes
credit
off
and
him.
A physical education credit. And I was like, oh, hell no. I had just barely made it out with money coming to school and lunch money and all that. I said, I got to get paid. I got to.
This is a really bad interview, by the way.
I dropped out, knowing that I would have graduated. It wasn't no big thing. Not to say that y'all shouldn't graduate, but for me at that particular time, it was more important that I found somewhere to live.
But you did get your GED. You moved out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Now she keeps
And
asking
what-
these
so
kind
what
of
did you get
slummy
as far as the
questions
job
like
was
about
concerned?
his
What did
life
you do
with
when you stopped going to school?
I only
not
had
going to
2 jobs
school.
ever in my life. One was in round.
She's gonna talk about his father, if I remember
Pizza, but it
correctly.
was good. It was a
Crack.
perfect job, Tabitha, because I was hungry and I got to like eat all the toppings off people's pizza. That's why, hey, because everything is right.
You see, she just walked into his shoulder right there with her boob.
Pizzas on the side, bringing pizzas home. I'm calling in my own deliveries. You know what I mean? Let me get 2.
She keeps
shrimp
bumping her
with
boob
everything.
into him.
But that job, I lasted about
Yo, Vita,
a
what's
month.
up?
Then I worked as the guy that packs your bags in the supermarket for about, 2 weeks.
This is a really bad
Kept
interview,
catching
by the
me
way.
writing
I think
raps
she's
about
too
time
smitten with him to actually
flies.
ask the questions.
I'm gonna write for
Instead of
I'll
loading
work for
people's
hours.
groceries.
Right, she can carry her own shit. So
Did it ever
I fired.
occur to you that you might be able to get scholarships to go to college, or was that just
I
not
always
even an
wanted to go
issue?
to college, but I wanted to go to college and be comfortable. Like how people like
Oh, this is boring.
to die like that. But a
Okay,
man
this
that
is
I
the
know, I
part.
knew-
This is the part with the father.
I'd like to have a mother.
Because she keeps going for the pathology,
California.
and the pathology almost seems to be turning her on.
Both of those things.
During that time when you went to California, your mother was in Baltimore. Is that when she was a crack addict?
Yeah, she just keep asking questions like this shit.
It's a crack when I was in California. First week in California. What's up? All right, what's happening?
Notice no one cares about her.
And what was that like to have a mother who was addicted to crack?
I love my mom. She the bomb to me. So
Yeah, so her whole thing was just like, what's it like having a mom addicted to crack? Your father wasn't there, right? Did you drop out of school? How much school did you miss? Like, so this weird kind of turning him into this like pathological thing, while at the same time almost seeming to be getting turned on by it, and her body language is all weird. And then, yeah, it was just a whole bunch of tacky questions, and either that or there would just be a big lull because she was like too busy thirsting and she wouldn't remember to keep asking questions, and she would keep walking into him and like pushing her boob on him. And so when I saw that interview, I thought I was getting gaslighted. I'm like, am I remembering the same interview? Maybe I was too young and I remember it in a weird way. But then I went and I looked back and it was actually, now that I'm older, it's actually worse in that her thirst and her weird pathologizing. She wasn't really talking about what goes into your music, what's the creative energy, what do you think about this and that. She just kept doing all this weird mix of like flirting and getting turned on and twirling her hair and staring and asking all these kind of life amongst the savages questions. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She didn't ask about the mom being a Black Panther. She asked about the mom on crack. Unfortunately, that was a 20-minute interview, so I can't find all the messed up questions. Yeah, I've heard Kurt Loder's racist, and the other girl, MTV News Kennedy. Well, she's like a right wing crazy. Yeah, but oh, but that's that same thing that Chelsea Handler is doing. It's all part of the same thing. It's all part of the same thing. And yeah, the whole idea, I'll take one for the team and have sex with him. Like, no, that's like he's supposed to be. First off, the fact that sex would be his motivator, but second, that sex with you is what is really going to. I don't even think Jimmy Fallon is even buying it. He's just like laughing along.
Publicly denounces Donald Trump, I might be willing to go for another spin. If you
Yeah, I might be willing. Yeah, okay, I'm sure you might. Like, this takes a
know
lot
what
of.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, so I mean, when I saw that, I was like, oh man, 50 is gonna go in. This should be interesting. This will be really interesting. See what 50 Cent does. He should go. He should go in. He will go in. I'm sure. I'm sure he will. And instead, what happened was quite different. Was laughing it. He was laughing it up. He was talking about, "Oh no, this is ruining my sex life. Sorry, baby." This is a headline. Chelsea Handler bullied 50 Cent into renouncing his support for Trump. Um, so he came out tweeting that, F Trump, and, come on, baby, um, you're my favorite. I don't want to lose that. So, what happened? I'm gonna show right here. He posted a screenshot and put the message, "Oh my God, this is affecting my love life now," saying as in this is gonna ruin my time with Chelsea. And then he said, "Don't let Trump and Joe Biden come between us." And yeah, and then she wrote that she would pay his taxes in exchange for him coming to your senses. And then he didn't respond. She wrote to him on the social media platform again, saying this offer still stands until November 3rd, Curtis. So she re-sparked this controversy. Then she went on NBC's Tonight Show. So basically 5 different ways she tried to make herself part of the story. And that thing on NBC Tonight Show was kind of the final thing. So when social media wasn't working. So then he shared the clip jokingly on Saturday morning, jokingly asking about another spin before denouncing the incumbent commander-in-chief in no uncertain terms. "Fuck Donald Trump. I never liked him," he wrote on the social media platform. "For all I know, he had set me up and had my friend Angel Fernandez killed, but that's history." For Handler, that wasn't enough. This is reading from the article. The comedian replied to her ex on Sunday, revealing that she had been trying to get in touch with the rapper privately. So I want you to think about this for a second. She's been trying for like 4 or 5 days to get at him on Twitter under the pretense of this story, right? He entertains her a little bit, but he doesn't really bite. She goes on Tonight Show and escalates it and makes it a viral clip. So he finally, after all the tweeting, all the days, whatever, he finally says, "Okay, F Trump." That's not enough for her. She keeps adding him on social media, saying she's been trying to reach him privately. So what does it tell you so far? She can't actually get him to talk to her. For real. She actually has to use internet stunts and public shaming to get him into the position where he kind of has to take her calls. So this is all kind of a convoluted way. And she's talking about going for another spin with him. I think this is seriously just a convoluted way to get back into sex with him or whatever. And she adds, honey, does this tweet mean we can count on you to vote for Joe Biden? I'm happy to discuss this with you privately. My phone number is still the same. Yours isn't. I've tried calling you. So she kind of gave away that she doesn't have his phone number anymore. Right? She left that part out and all the jokes she was cracking on him. He changed her number, didn't bother to even tell her. She had to find out this way. And this whole thing has just been a long stunt to get his number again. But even then, she's still pretending to be above him and that she's the one who's slumming, that, you know, he'd be happy to get a piece of this again, you know? So she low-key put herself on blast if you had the eyes to know what to look for, you know? Like, they didn't report it the way I said it, you know? But if you know what to look for, that's some common sense. Yeah, so basically, I mean, I think this was just her way of trying to reinsert herself back in his life and maybe get another try at the magic stick and stuff. But I hate that she has to do while still denigrating him and still trying to use her mediocre white girl privilege and self-delusion, you know? Like, I wish 50 Cent didn't entertain it. I mean, the way this guy puts his own son on blast, you know? Like why handle her with such kid gloves? I don't get it. I never understand that. And yeah, I don't know what it is that makes him go so easy on her, but it really, you know, whether it's... Oh, so another thing came out where she came out and said that it finally worked and they spoke for 30 minutes. I forgot that. She gave another interview where she mentioned that. And I found that funny. So I mean, hopefully she gets it in and we have to stop hearing about her stupid stunts, you know, and her liberal racism. Yeah, but again, she gave another interview about, and no one really wants to talk to her about her. That's the funny thing. People want to talk about him, you know, and she wants to talk about him. She wants to call him, and he changes his number, you know. Yeah, but I just wish he didn't. I just wish he didn't do that. I wish he didn't change his tweet because of her. I wish he checked her and so forth. But yeah, she said, okay, actually, I think this might be it. I think this might be where she mentions that she had the phone call. So maybe it is. I don't know. But if it was, you think she'd be acting better? If it was, you think he'd give her his new number? She wouldn't have to do, I mean, she seems to be way more thirsty for him than vice versa. So I don't know how fire it was, you know? No, he did smash. They were dating. They both said they smashed, you know? This is exactly what I'm talking about, Vita. Yeah, you know, he's clowned Vivica multiple times. I was talking about that before you came on. He's clowned her multiple times. Yeah, but let's see. This is a clip. She's still getting press off of this. This is from today.
Handler. Girl, I've made those calls. I know exactly that hotel. Joy. It's on you, Joy.
So, yeah. So, Chelsea, the election is less than a week away. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
She's gotten so much press off this. It's ridiculous.
Urging everyone, you know, to get out and vote. So how are you feeling about the election right now? About election night, actually?
I wish I knew exactly where.
We know the Republicans are going to pop off your ballots.
So that's her token question about.
Chelsea, you know, last week 50 Cent tweeted that he was
I
voting.
want to stand clear. That first question was just a token. They don't give a fuck what she thinks about the election. Like Chelsea Handler, what's she gonna break down swing states? Yeah. So they Joy Behar, because she's an elder stateswoman, she has to ask the first question, but she's supposed to be above that. So they threw out to the Latina rookie to ask the salacious question that they all really booked her for anyway.
Trump, because he discovered he would have to pay more taxes under a Biden administration. And you called him out and said he was now your, excuse me, least favorite ex-boyfriend. And I don't know where I've been because I didn't even realize that you had dated. But your back and forth with him on Twitter went really viral. And he seems to have backtracked on his support for Trump now. Have you spoken to him about this? Because it really made a lot of news.
Look how happy she is.
Yes, and I understand. He called me the other night, 2 nights ago. We spoke for about a half an hour, and I texted him, I DM'd him, and I said, "Can you please call me about this? I don't want this to be public. I really want to know.
I don't want
if
this
you're
to be
serious
public.
about
Okay.
supporting Trump."
Yeah. This is someone who acts like they don't want something to be public. Okay.
And so he called me, and he wasn't serious. He was just screwing around on his Twitter. He is supporting Joe Biden. He made that very clear to me. And he said that I was able to tell you girls and tell any other press I did that he is supporting Joe Biden. So, and then we talked and, had a cute little conversation. I did promise, to pay his taxes. And then I found out it's illegal to pay somebody to vote for your candidate.
Yes, it is.
So I offered him another form of payment, and we'll see if he takes me up on it. But I don't have to pay him. He's already a Biden supporter.
Yeah, so she's still talking about the sex thing.
Well, on that note, I will remind everyone you are single, and you've been very vocal about your crush on Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, but so she still brought up that thing. Yeah, so I mean that's just what I wanted to say. It's the same old story where there's that Nickelodeon girl, where there was Tabitha Soren. There was another one, Michael Che. Y'all remember the case with Michael Che? That was another one. Did y'all ever see that Michael Che one? That's a total other one. That's a perfect example. I'm gonna end with that one. Y'all gotta see the Michael Che one. Hold on. But that's a perfect example of sexual entitlement. So this lady, right? She was thirsting for Michael Che. This was a couple of years ago. She was thirsty for Michael Che. And I'm going to find exactly what happened. But she basically was trying to get at Michael Che. And then when Michael Che, I guess, wasn't feeling her, she made this kind of fake story. And for people who don't know, Michael Che is the guy from Saturday Night Live. He's a head writer there. He's a black guy, right? Yeah, Che and I don't know if you could even call her a reality star, right? Yeah, but so y'all know this story. I'm pulling up the story now. It's because it's another perfect example. And I'm telling you, after I get off this, I'm gonna think about like 5 more. Right? I'm gonna think of 5 more because this is an old trope. And like I said, this is like a micro version of the whole thing that happens with a lot of false rape accusations that used to happen in Jim Crow and slave times. That same type of entitlement. But check it out. So, star Michael Che blasted for his dating app etiquette. So then, this is him. This is the girl. Whatever. I mean, all's fair in love and texting. Married to the Mob. Is that a reality show? Is that why people call her a reality show star? So I guess she's from that reality show, Married to the Mob. And I never heard of it. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. Also, if you're enjoying this game, by all means, don't forget to hit the not the Cash App. I should put my Cash App up here, actually. But yeah, hit the super chat, hit the stickers, the whole nine. Yeah, married to the mob founder, Leah McSweeney slammed Saturday Night Live player Michael Che. He wasn't head writer yet, right? But calling the comedian quote unquote arrogant and quote unquote D-list after she encountered him on a dating app. But text messages sent to page 6 by Che tell a different story. I've met a comedian. I've dealt with a few comedians. They are the worst. I don't even know why I entertained this, but I have to say, Michael Che is so arrogant and so rude and disrespectful that I cannot even believe that you're like a D-list celebrity to me, whatever. That's why I don't even care that I'm saying his name. I'm not like blowing up Jay-Z's spot. McSweeney explained on her Improper Etiquette podcast released Tuesday. McSweeney's female-focused streetwear brand, Married to the Mob, launched in 2004. So Married to the Mob seems to be a clothing line, not a reality show. I don't know. And she goes, why are you on a dating app if you hate women? Literally, you've never met me and you're texting me like I'm a stupid bitch. Texting me and being mad rude. Just making him sound like he's thirsty and, beating his chest and saying, hey, bitch, come here. Give me some of that, whatever. She keeps going on. He just kept texting me going, I'm fat. Does that turn you on? And I'm like, you're fat? I think I've seen you. You're not fat, okay? She continued, you're trying to F with me? I don't get it. You're just an effing dork wearing Air Force Ones at the end of the day. Like, because you're sitting up there writing your jokes on a little card trying to figure out what the F. His Netflix special is actually funny. Arrogance is ignorance to me. And so but yeah, she was making it sound like he was being hostile. He was being crude, not that different than how, in a lot of ways, Chelsea Handler was making 50 Cent sound. And then right here, Michael Che sends the receipts. And this is funny. Yeah, I'm not sure she's on the Real Housewives show. I think people just, maybe she was. I think people are thinking of Mob Wives, which is a reality show. Married to the Mob is a streetwear brand, I think. So I don't think she's even a reality person. I don't think she's Mob Wives. She's right. But this is Leah. Hi, Leah. Hi. Is your experience with Raya awful? Okay, so this is her. She's on the left. So she goes Leah, right? Which makes me think that what came before is, who is this again, right? Because why would she just be saying her name? And he goes, hi, Leah. Hi. Is your experience with Raya awful? The dudes all look gay to me. I guess Raya's a dating app, except you, obviously. And then he goes, not at all awful, but I didn't go in expecting anything. He just says matter-of-factly, well, if you saw what I was seeing, you would be horrified. Hot. And then he goes, I guess women are less frightening. He's doing the bare minimum. He's not biting at the bait. And then, these aren't all of them. Here we go. I've never been on a dating app thing ever before this. I heard they look good. Men these days are just confused with how to dress, I think. He says one sentence. Yeah, I've seen some big fashion swings. Lots of strange hats going on. LOL. That's all he says, LOL. So he doesn't care. Then she says this, November 27th. Hey, remember me? Him. Yeah. Like, totally unenthused, right? He's got better things going on. What's up? Chilling home. How are you? Where's home? Should find out where he lives. I'm good. Chilling home too. Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan. I grew up there. She just keeps talking, And he's saying the bare minimum. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So she just keeps going on. How tall are you? And then this is, I could tell he's just toying with her, like, because he's so bored. So he goes, I'm fat. I'm 6'2". Does that turn you on? So basically, he's just like trying to do anything to make the conversation interesting. And so she just keeps trying to throw out bait. Like, I want to be fat. Can you help me? When are we going to eat? Blah, blah, blah. So that's all that just kept happening. And she starts sending him pictures of cakes. And she sends him this thing. Does that turn you on? Not really. And he's just not going for it. This is over the course of like weeks, months, where she would disappear for like a couple of months, then keep trying. So look, December 1st, what did you eat today? No response. Before that, are you more talkative in person? Nothing. 2 weeks later, December 19th, what's up? 10 days later, you hate me because I'm white. Our conversations are everything to me, by the way. We have a lot of friends in common, and if any of them saw this, I would be so ashamed. So she's like, your conversations are everything to me. This guy's been ghosting her for like weeks or months, whatever. Has been showing no enthusiasm. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, she goes, I like harassing you on text, and it's almost like pranking, except I'm not anonymous, and I'm ashamed of it. Do you even know what I look like? He's like, yeah, I mean, I've seen pictures, and then I think finally, I'm just gonna jump to the end. Oh, this is the best part, right? So then finally she sends a picture, and then she goes, what do you think? And he goes, I don't remember. He goes, do you F with white girls? I mess with girls, right? And the mess with white girls thing, the reason for that is now she needs to believe maybe this guy is super radical and doesn't like white women off of some principle, because I need something to tell me why this black guy that's supposed to be easy pickings is not going for me, So that's like up there when a woman asks you if you're gay. She just asks you if you're gay because she needs some reason to figure out why you're not taking the hint. Like when a woman's thirsty, like they try to convince themselves that you're gay, So she just brings up race, and she wants to believe. So then he goes, what reaction are you looking for? She's like, anything, interest, something. And mind you, this is over the course of months with weeks between texts because he's just never answering. He goes, you don't ask any questions. You're so odd. He's like, you got that from 8 innocuous texts? Do you ever want to meet up? Or are we just going to text each other randomly to eternity? Well, I did think it was odd you kept saying you're fat. Then he's like, I don't want to meet up. You text really strange declarations looking for a reaction, and I don't want to know what's the real life equivalent of that. He's basically saying, I don't even want to know what you're like in real life if this is how weird you text. And she just keeps going and keeps begging and thirsting and stuff. It's and then this is the best part. After that, she goes, check out this great podcast. Hope you can make some time in your busy schedule to listen. You gave me some great content. And then she starts, so she sent, this is January, months later, after she did the podcast trashing him, she then reached out and sent him the podcast and was like, you gave me great content, blah, blah, blah. And she starts telling him off. Yeah, I don't know why men think it's okay to trash women, but why men think it's okay to talk to a woman they've never met in such an arrogant, gross way. It's definitely a disease going on. And then all he sent was just a thumbs up. But that's the same energy that Chelsea Handler went on Howard Stern with. Where I think, and 50 Cent didn't have the receipts, but I bet you his version of the story is very different. I think it's the same thing. So basically, I think she tried to do what Chelsea Handler did, but this guy, Michael Che, had receipts. I'm sure something very different happened with Ciara and 50 Cent and her, and it has, just like that Married to the Mob Ladies version of reality, had nothing to do with what really happened, and that's like some kind of jilted speak. And even, that that jilting or that dissing is like a low key from somebody better than you. For somebody who thinks they're better than you, that's a low key way of trying to publicly get at you while saving face. But maybe in private, they might let the mask down. But, in public, she's still invested in I'm a white woman. I should be better than this. I should be an A-list white woman on top of that, Yeah, it's kind of like when some guy who's like the school athlete and popular guy likes a fat girl, and he's ashamed that he likes a fat girl and finds her attractive. So he'll like tease her in public when his friends are around. But even the teasing is kind of his way of trying to, yeah. But so he was trying to diss her the whole conversation, and she didn't get it, and it was. Oh, Hansi has had some interactions, some connections to Stern. Yeah, when she was doing it there, she was catering to anti-blackness Howard likes to have. I used to be dumbed down and would buy into those subtle tricks on his show. Yeah. Hansi has had some experience working with Howard Stern. But yeah, but she was making him sound like really aggressive and crazy. And the reason I'm playing all this is because I want you all to be able to kind of see the implications when you see it again. Because I already had thoughts on this. When I saw what Chelsea Handler was doing, I was thinking of these previous examples, and I'm like, that's just a woman thirsting for a guy that she was supposed to be slumming with but got strung out over. And this is all just in addition to clout chasing, because she's in entertainment at the end of the day, is also her way of trying to get back in his orbit, but also like glom off some of his shine, because that's another thing too. When they think the black guy is gonna be a come up for them, that's as far as getting them extra exposure, that's something that helps too. She's a comedian. This guy's on Saturday Night Live, and he, in addition to that, he, I don't know if he was at the time, but now he's like the head writer. She might think, hey, I can't get Colin Jost, he's a conventionally attractive white guy from privilege. I can't work him. Colin Jost is the other co-writer on Saturday Night Live, and he's engaged to Scarlett Johansson. Like, he's engaged to A-list Hollywood sex symbol. Married to the mob lady is not getting that. But in addition to maybe being sincerely attracted to Che, that because he's black, he's a shot that she might have a chance at. She might be able to punch above her weight. With that type of black guy, when she might not be able to get the white equivalent of a Michael Che, which is Colin Jost. So look at her surprise when she finds out that no, you can't get, him either, the black guy. Yeah, and he could have gotten in trouble at SNL, Yeah. Some say 50's still relevant. Chelsea isn't. I mean, she has shows on Netflix, but like, who doesn't? I mean, that's Netflix is like slightly harder to get onto than YouTube these days, basically. But yeah, that's basically it. That's it. Had nothing much else to say. Did y'all enjoy that one? If you did, by all means, feel free to show some appreciation. Go to patreon.com/champagne sharks, become a member. I should be doing stuff at the beginning. I never remember. Yeah, but definitely subscribe if you like our content, for sure. You get extra podcasts. I hope y'all are all podcast listeners. I don't know if we have just people who are into our live stream, but the podcasts have a lot of good stuff on them. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. We had like a bunch of people in here, so there's no reason why the likes shouldn't be higher. It helps us on the algorithm, helps us get discovered. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. And also, if you've been enjoying the game we've been dropping, then by all means, hit the super chat if you enjoyed the stream. That's always appreciated as well. Thanks to everyone who did donate today. Yeah, maybe I'll do Rashida Jones tomorrow, man. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I haven't seen what it was. I didn't see what it was, but a lot of people are talking about it, so I'm sure it was good. All right. Thanks, y'all. Definitely. Someone said, if I ever get rejected by Netflix, I'm going to feel horrible. I'm skeptical. Especially if we do stand-up comedy. If we do stand-up comedy, I'm convinced they will not reject anybody. Still don't know what happened with Monique, because she's a million times better than a lot of the people they put on there, for real. Oh yeah, definitely. Let's set it up. Rita wants to be on the one about Rashida Jones. Yeah, I'm sure Rita has a lot of ideas about that. Yeah, great. Oh yeah, check out the recent YouTube with Ishmael Reed too. Definitely. Incel rehabilitation episode. Oh man, I don't want to get that lane. That's a lane I'm not sure I want. We have a episode coming up about all of that, so I'm already worried we're in danger of making it our lane, but we'll see. All right, y'all. Be good. Take care.